I think the biggest reason why I'm skeptical of all of this is hydrogen. It's a totally new technology. You have to build all the fuel cells yourself. Nobody has proven this can work. There's always people talking about it, but nobody's actually done it. And the projects that have pushed forward hydrogen appear to be stalling and not making a lot of progress. So, what's your take on that, of this choice of hydrogen?
Yeah, so to be determined if this is going to work. It'll be not the short range trucking, it'll be the long range trucking. Basically, if you need, if you're taking a route that is many, many miles, then you would need a gigantic battery to not have to charge in between that route. And that makes it super heavy. That increases cost, decreases efficiency from the increased weight. They have maximum weight limits for trucking, so obviously that impacts it. So that's where, like, in theory, it could be interesting, and I'm curious to see if it works for that niche. But for everywhere else, I just don't think it makes sense. Like, you've got kind of the rebuttals to hydrogen. You've got Elon Musk saying that they're hydrogen fuel cells instead of fuel cells. You've got the Volkswagen CEO, Herbert Diess, saying that basically pulling the plug on hydrogen for VW, and saying that it doesn't really make sense. And then Tanaka, the chief engineer of the Toyota Mirai, said Elon Musk is right. It just makes way more sense to just plug your vehicle in directly and just charge it. So obviously a Mirai is very different from a long haul hydrogen electric semi truck. But what about, like, the Badger? The Badger, this is another thing. Not only 7 vehicles are they planning to launch in the next 2 years, but then you've got all these variations of the vehicle. Like he said, they'll be selling the Badger BEV, battery electric only, with the option to install the hydrogen fuel cell later on at a later date. And that just doesn't make any sense to me either. Like, one, it doesn't seem to make sense for anything but long haul trucking. And then two, like, you're going to design your battery electric vehicle from the ground up to include a retrofit for a hydrogen fuel cell.
Then the next one we have, obviously, is one that was very popular to everyone that a lot of people know about. It's called the Nikola Badger. It's an electric pickup truck. And this is really unique because it's not just a battery electric pickup truck. It's the first ever kind of like hypervised blended truck. That means you can order it with battery electric only, and you can later put a fuel cell generator on it.
Well, it just doesn't make sense.
Work?
And to me, it's like, this is where I'm so confused. I'm like, are you a hydrogen company or are you a battery company? Because I don't feel like you can immediately come up with the world's leading technology of both industries at the same time and commercialize both of them, not only at the same time, in the same product. Like, that to me is like, what? But then, let's try and say the good side of this is like what you're saying, like, maybe the battery isn't ideal for these super long haul trucks, and like they're only doing the same route, and you set up these hydrogen stations on that route. Like, this could be an interesting, like, niche for that. And then they have, like, other different things where the aspect, and like the way they have in their investor presentation is like short hauls battery, long hauls hydrogen. They're not competitors, they're complementary.
Yeah, and then as energy density of batteries improves over time, it'll cannibalize those routes where hydrogen makes sense, right? So it's short route battery, long route hydrogen, and then as energy density improves, then it starts to cannibalize. So he's saying, like, over time, he's also kind of admitting that over time, hydrogen might not make sense at all if energy density improves drastically over the next, decade.